Hello, welcome to my first episode in this series aimed at independent artists looking to make a living in the music business. Now, my name's Eric and I currently run a not-for-profit record label called Needle Jump Records. So I ran my first independent label back in the late 90s, early noughties, and I've been in and around the music scene ever since. Now, in this first episode, I'll be looking at how an independent artist who is looking to work with the label can improve their chances. Now, let's face it, not every artist wants that, and there'll be plenty in this series going forward for the artist who does wish to stay independent. But whether you're signed or fully independent, it's important still to understand how the money flows in the music business. So to start, we're going to look at what a deal looks like from the record company's side. Now, imagine you run a small label and you're looking to sign an artist. I want you to think about what that would look like for the owner of the record label. For me, there are three top priorities. So here they are. So the first one is that the artist has proven appeal, that there's actually an audience there for the music. Second thing is that they can write songs and perform live. And third is that they'll be easy to work with. After all, this is a business relationship. So I'm going to be spending time and money getting to the artist's music recorded and distributed, and hopefully recoup some of that money from sales. Well, no audience, no sales, I lose. As an independent label, I don't have the budget for expensive, high-risk artist launch programs. I'll need some evidence of an existing audience to reduce my risk. So let's look at that from the artist's perspective. How do you prove that people actually like your music? Well, good social media presence that shows active engagement, evidence of streaming growth across the platforms. And if you are out gigging, maybe some experience working as support for a larger artist. This will show that you can perform and draw a crowd. Now, because artists don't need to pay to distribute their tracks anymore with free services like SoundOn, most artists will publish at least one or two tracks themselves. Now, the label will be interested in how much love these tracks are getting from the streaming public. I mean, are the streams growing organically? Are people saving the tracks to their playlist? These are all clear indications for the record label that your music has some proven appeal. So what happens to these couple of tracks you might have up on Spotify? Well, when you sign for the label, there are a couple of common scenarios. One is that the label will re-record the master. So they may arrange for you to re-record them in a better studio with a better mixing engineer and a better mastering engineer, at which point you take your original tracks down from the streaming platforms and the label will replace them with their higher quality versions. Now, there's an alternative. You may agree that those original recordings remain yours, stay on the streaming platforms, and you continue to collect the streaming revenues. Then, your new record deal is only for future recordings. Now, this is common for artists who want to retain a catalogue of self-released work and potentially see themselves working with different labels throughout their career. So second on the list is when signing a new artist, can they write good songs and perform live? Now, being able to write good songs is likely to be the difference between a short-term foray into being a performing artist for yourself or doing this profitably for the rest of your life. However, in many ways, songwriting will be less important to the label than it is for you as the artist. Now, if you're a good performer, then the label can always bring in songs for you to record from outside songwriters. Now, there's a critical distinction between the song and the recording. Now, remember, record labels are interested in owning a recording, a master of the song, and making money when people listen to that recording. This is separate from the income that the rights to the song itself, the publishing has, which many labels including ourselves, don't actually take an interest in. That money will often go to the songwriter, with the label getting nothing at all. Now, remember in your head to separate the song from the master recording, as the money from them two separate things creates income in different ways. We'll delve into this a bit later. So the third priority I mentioned was the business relationship. So when I'm looking to sign an artist, how easy are they to work with? Now, a record contract describes a business relationship between the label and the artist. Now, more important than the contract terms is the relationship itself. Now, can the label trust the artist to do what they said they will do in terms of delivering recordings? Does the artist trust that the label will do what they promise? Now, any doubts or mistrust, things will go off kilter when the financials start to appear. Trust and professionalism are the bedrock of the success of a long-term partnership. Now, when you're running an independent label, you're not just signing music, you're signing a person or a group of people if it's a band. And you're going to be working close with these, hopefully for years. That means countless meetings, travel, promotional interviews, high-pressure situations. If the artist has a reputation for being unreliable, difficult, overly demanding before they've even signed a contract, that's a huge red flag. I, as a label owner, need to be confident that the artist will show up for studio sessions, deliver the requested promotional content on time, and generally act like a professional business partner. Now, your reputation for being responsive, respectful, and reliable is an enormous asset for you. It demonstrates that you understand that this is a business, and it minimizes the label's emotional risk, which is just as important as its financial risk. So let's distinguish between publishing and record details. It's one of the most fundamental concepts you need to master as an independent artist. So the core of the confusion between these things is that every single song has two separate, distinct copyrights. Now think of it of a coin with two sides. There's the composition, or what we call the song. Then there's the sound recording, often called the master. Now, the composition is the underlying musical work. It's the melody, the lyrics, the musical arrangements, the blueprint of the song. Now, this is covered by a publishing deal. So what's a publishing deal? It's the song itself, the chords, the lyrics, the melody. Now, if you sat down with an acoustic guitar and sang it, that is the composition. Well, who owns it? Well, that's the songwriter, often called the composer. So what does the publisher do? Well, a music publisher's job is to protect that song and exploit the composition. And what we mean by that is that they ensure that the songwriter gets paid any time that song is used. Now, the royalties from this come from various sources, including performance royalties when the song is played publicly. There's radio, streaming, live venues, restaurants, TVs and films, background music. And then there's mechanical royalties, which is when the song is reproduced, like downloads or physical CD or vinyl or on-demand streams. And then there's sync licensing. Now, when the song is used in an audio-visual work, like a film, a TV show, a commercial, or a video game. An example would be if Taylor Swift's Shake It Off is covered by a high school band. Now, the original songwriter, Taylor Swift, still earns the publishing royalties because the composition is performed even though it's a brand new recording. Now, for many independent labels like mine, we do not take an interest in publishing. That money goes directly to you, the songwriter, and your publishing administrator or publisher if you decide to hire one. Now, what about the sound recording? This is the record label's side of the deal. So it's the final audio file, the specific recording of the song you hear on Spotify or YouTube or buy as a download or on vinyl. And this is covered by the record deal. So what is it? It's the final mixed mastered product. It's the bass line, the drums, the sound, the vocals, all the different takes and elements all put together. Who owns it? Well, typically the party who financed the recording, which is usually the record label, hence the term master rights. Now, if you were fully independent and paid for it all yourself, you own the masters. Now, what does a record label do? So a record label's job is to develop, fund, market and distribute that recording to the public. They seek to maximize the income from the master. And what about the royalties? Well, this comes from sales and streams. I mean, the bulk of the income generated when the recording is streamed or downloaded. But there's also master sync fees. Now, this is the fee paid for using this specific recording in a film or a commercial. Now, it's important to note, though, that a sync deal requires a license from both the master owner and the publishing owner. So why does this all matter to you as an artist? You need to understand this because you're a potential source of two income streams. One, as a songwriter, you generate publishing income, and as a recording artist, you generate master income, which is shared with the label. The best situation for you is to maximize your share of both of these revenue streams. When an independent label signs you, they're primarily interested in acquiring the master rights for new recordings they fund, because that's how they recoup their investments and make money. Now, this distinction is crucial, and knowing where each stream comes from is the first step towards building a successful and a sustainable career. Now, in the next episode, we're going to look at social media production and how potentially buying the right equipment and the right environment for recording that is critical to success. So I'm going to leave it there for now, and I'll see you in the next episode.